The House will come to order. The pledge will be led by Representative Kraft Tharp.
Good morning. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kohler, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Becker J, Becker K, Brown, Buck, Buckner, Carver, Conti, Corum, Court, Danielson, Del Grosso, Dorr, Duran, Esgar, Everett, Fields, Foote, Garnett, Janal, Hamner, Humphrey, Joshi, Kagan, Klingenschmidt, Krafttharp, Landgraf, Lawrence, Lebsock, Lee, Leonard, Lontine, Lundeen, McCann, Melton, Mitch Bush, Moreno, Navarro, Neville, Nordberg, Pabon, Pedersen, Primavera, Priola, Rankin, Ransom, Rosenthal, Rupe, Ryden, Sane, Salazar, Sias, Singer, Thurlow, Tyler, Van Winkle, Vigil, Willett, Williams, Wilson, Windholes, Winter, Wist, Young. Madam Speaker.
Here. With 65 present, no excused, a quorum is present. Representative Klingenschmidt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, with apologies to Daniel Kagan's favorite band, the Beatles, I intend to sing the dispensing of the reading of the journal. This is to the theme of Lady Madonna. Please, Madam Speaker, please don't make me read yesterday's journal. I move dispense with it. Why should we read it? It's irrelevant. Accept it as the Chief Clerk Marilyn amended. January, we convened for session. February, they killed all my bills. March and April, we debated late bills. It's May, sign and die. Please, Madam Speaker, please don't make me read yesterday's journal. I move dispense with it. Thank you.
Okay, you've heard the motion that the journal be adopted as corrected by the Chief Clerk, I do believe. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Well, shall we have announcements and introductions? Okay, no announcements and introductions. Oh, the speaker actually has one announcement. Today, 5:10, Representative Wist will be replaced by Representative Quorum on the State Affairs Committee only for today. Madam Majority Leader, Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Business Affairs and Labor Committee. We will have a meeting upon adjournment today. And please note that we've added Senate Bill 217, Senate Bill 183, and Senate Bill 197 to the calendar.
Representative Court.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Finance Committee will meet at some point, and we will hear Senate Bill 184, Senate Bill 212, and any other bills that come out of any other of the committees that are meeting before we are.
Representative Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Transportation Committee. We still don't have anything to do because we did such a great job. Great committee. Thank you.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, Appropriations is going to meet at some point tomorrow in room 271 after all the other committees get done. And we do have one bill. It's Senate Bill 218 on the calendar. We'll add others as they come to us. Thank you.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I made a mistake. It's not tomorrow. It's today.
Yes, you got that right. Madam Majority, Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. State Veterans and Military Affairs will meet in 271 sometime today. We will be doing Senate Bill 210 and 213. So watch for news of our meeting time.
Further announcements and introductions. Seeing none, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the following bills be made special orders today, May 10th at 12:28 a.m. Senate Bill 56, Senate Bill 200, Senate Bill 186, Senate Bill 104, Senate Bill 3, Senate Bill 143, and Senate Bill 36.
The motion is that the list of the Majority Leader's list of bills will be made special orders today, May 10th at 12:28 a.m. See no objection, so ordered. Representative Moreno.
Madam Speaker, I move the House now resolve itself into a committee of the whole for consideration of special orders.
You've heard the motion. See no objection. Representative Moreno will take the chair.
Committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the Majority Leader. The coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 56.
Senate Bill 56 by Senator Lambert, also Representative Lee, concerning broadening protections of the state whistleblower protection law for state employees who disclose confidential information to certain state entities of legal requirements to preserve the confidentiality of the information disclosed.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You're the chair. I move Senate Bill 56 and the State Veteran Military Affairs Committee report.
To the State Affairs Committee report, Representative Lee.
The State Veteran Military Affairs Committee amended the bill to create a working group to evaluate the whistleblower review agency work. They created the working group. They added the Attorney General to the working group, and they provided that the bill, the law will be repealed on 5/15/18. I ask for an aye vote on the committee report.
Is there further discussion on the State Affairs Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the State Affairs Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. State Affairs Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the Enhanced Whistleblower Protection Act, and it protects employees who reveal confidential and protected information within the state. The purpose of the bill is to create opportunities for employees who want to reveal information about potential improprieties, fraud, waste, and abuse, mismanagement going on within the government to a newly created whistleblower review agency, which for most employees will be the Attorney General's office. So employees can report information to the Attorney General's office, who will keep it confidential and decide whether or not that information should be disclosed. If there is a requirement to have an investigation. They will turn it over to that agency. This bill passed out of the Senate committees without any opposition. It passed the full Senate on the consent calendar and was unanimous, and it came through the esteemed State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee 9-0. So I would ask for an aye vote.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I do think there is a need for this bill, and I also do want to mention that the Senate prime sponsor, Senator Lambert, saw all the amendments and he's okay with them. So good bill, vote yes.
Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, and I wanted to thank Representative Lee for bringing the bill, and he thinks that we're nice in state affairs. The only time he was there, and we voted him straight out of there, so he had a pretty good experience. Seems like I just heard this bill yesterday, and I voted yes, and I urge a yes vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 56? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 56. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 56 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 200.
Senate Bill 200 by Senator Sonnenberg, also Representative Vigil, concerning the creation of a position in the Office of the Governor that coordinates permitting of water projects.
Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I move the veterans, can't even think anymore. I move the bill and Senate Bill 200 and the State Veterans Military Affairs Committee report.
To the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee report, Representative Vigil.
In the committee, we just had to do a technical amendment, which is on page 3, line 15, strike 4, and substitute for 5. There's a numerical misnumbering, and so that's all that did. It just made it a 5 instead of a 4, instead of having 2 4s. That I asked for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion? Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this amendment was so technical, I would have even been a yes on third reading.
Is there further discussion on the State Affairs Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the State Affairs Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. State Affairs Committee report is adopted. Representative Vigil, to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a great bill. It creates a new position for the governor's office to manage state water bills and state water projects, I mean. And with that, I ask for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion? Representative Corum.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. Members, time is money. And that's what this bill will do. It will speed up either the approval or the denial of a project. And I think that's very important that we do this because, as I say, time is money. And the longer we delay these projects, don't be a Milton. The longer we delay these, the more money it costs. So, and these are taxpayer dollars we're talking about. So this is a good bill. Ask for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 200? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 200. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 200 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of the Senate Bill 186.
Senate Bill 186 by Senator Tate, also Representative Valentine, concerning disclosure requirements to be applied to small-scale issue committees under Colorado law governing campaign finance in connection with making appropriation.
Representative Valentine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 186. There is no committee report.
To the bill, Representative Valentine.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, we had some conflicts in our campaign finance laws due to some recent federal court opinions. And so basically what this bill does is it creates small issue committees that raise less than $200 so they're not required to report donations or expenditures, and a small issue committee that raises between $200 and $5,000 is required to register and report its registered agent, but not contributors. And once a committee exceeds $5,000 in contributions, it will be required to follow all the full disclosure requirements. So it's a good bill. We had this put together with Secretary of State and Common Cause. I urge an aye vote.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That would get you.
And also Representative Neville. Good bill, vote yes.
Unanimous out of State Affairs.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 186. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 186 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 104.
Senate Bill 104 by Senators Todd and Sonnenberg, also Representative Becker J, concerning incentives to become a teacher in a rural school district in Colorado in connection with making an appropriation.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 104 in the Education Committee report.
To the Education Committee report, Representative Becker.
Members, in education, we added an amendment that would, if teachers took the stipend for student teaching, that they would also have to teach 2 years in a rural district. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on the Education Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Education Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Education Committee report, it passes. To the bill, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this bill creates a stipend that will help us recruit rural teachers. One of the stipends is for student teaching that will recruit teachers to rural Colorado, and the other stipend also is for concurrent enrollment and national certification for teachers. On top of that, there is a director, a rural director, that kind of coordinates all this as they move forward. I would, before I ask for an aye vote, I have a few amendments, Mr. Chair. I'm trying. In committee, we were talking about making sure that we were recruiting a diverse ethnicity to these groups, and I agreed with that, so I move Amendment 017 and ask that it be displayed.
Amendment L017 has been moved and is displayed. To the amendment, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment assures that we make every attempt to recruit a diverse ethnicity to these rural schools as we go forward. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on Amendment L017? Representative Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to thank Representative Becker J for moving this amendment forward. Members, I do urge an aye vote. It's a good amendment. Vote yes.
Is there further discussion on Amendment L017? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L017. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment L017 is adopted. To the bill, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we've had a vigorous discussion on this. I ask for an aye vote on the bill.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 104? Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Becker, for bringing this forward. I'll be very brief. $145,000 of the fiscal note under Senate Bill 104 is going to go towards a rural education coordinator. We currently have that at Western State Colorado University. That's being funded by a federal grant. A lot of the testimony we heard didn't discuss the success of this coordinator, so I just want to raise the awareness here in the body that we're going to move this forward. We're going to establish this coordinator, but when it comes back up, I hope that it's a little bit more successful than what's currently been the case, and I want to make sure that was on the record. But I would urge an aye vote.
Further discussion on Senate Bill 104. Representative Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we heard this bill in Education Committee today, and we had a superintendent come to us from Deer Trail. He is the superintendent there, and he described to us the challenges that many of the rural school districts have as relates to recruiting and retaining teachers. In fact, he said he was not able to have a math teacher in his school for almost 3 years. So I think that this bill puts us on track to make sure that we're doing everything possible to recruit and retain teachers. So vote yes.
Further discussion on Senate Bill 104. Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 104. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 104 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 3.
Senate Bill 3 by Senators Roberts and Jones, also Representative Becker K, concerning increased methods to reduce wildfire risk.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 3. There is no committee report.
To the bill, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill extends a program that first passed in 2013 that provides wildfire mitigation grants to local communities and local governments. It has been highly leveraged. It's in high demand. There's lots of communities that want this, certainly a lot more than what we can fund under this bill. The bill also clarifies that the Wildfire Committee will consider potential marketable uses for hazardous fuels in forests, including things like biochar. That amendment is supported by, or that effort is supported by many involved in wildfire mitigation. And this is a Wildfire Committee bill. We heard a lot of support for this at the Wildfire Committee. Also yesterday in Ag, diverse groups all saying that they've applied for this, used it. It's made a big impact in their communities, especially with so much federal funding for wildfire mitigation disappearing. This is an especially important time to pass this bill. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 3? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 3. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 3 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 143.
Senate Bill 143 by Senator Hill, also Representative Pabon, concerning a reduction in annual liquor licensing fees for specified licensees.
Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move Senate Bill 143 in the Finance Committee report.
To the Finance Committee report, Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Chair, what the amendment did is basically phase in the fee reduction from 2016 to 2017. Ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Finance Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Senate Bill 143 simply puts parity on the fees that are contained in certain products sold under Title 12. Ask for an aye vote.
Representative Nordberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good bill, vote yes.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 143. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 143 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 36.
Senate Bill 36 by Senator Neville T. Also Representatives Kraft, Tharp, and Size, concerning surety requirements for taxpayer appeals of tax bill that the state or local government claims is due.
Representative Kraft Tharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 36 and the Appropriations Report.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative Kraft Tharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Appropriations Committee made an appropriations.
Is there further discussion on the Appropriation Committee report? They did what they do best. Further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report. Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Sias.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 36 repeals the requirement that a taxpayer set aside money for all appeals to a district court except in cases of a frivolous tax claim submission as determined by Department of Revenue.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 36? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 36. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Senate Bill 36 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader, I move the committee rise and report.
Members, you did a great job paying attention. Apparently, we just need to always do second orders at 12:30 a.m. You've heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Kohler, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, Committee of the Whole begs leave reports under consideration of following attached bills being second reading. The level makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bills 3, 36 amended, 56 amended, 104 amended, 143 amended, 186, 200 amended. Passed on second reading in order advised place on the counter for third and final passage.
Representative Moreno. You have heard the motion and there are no amendments. The question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 63 ayes, 2 noes, and no excuse, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Are there any more announcements and introductions? Seeing none, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. We're going to have a very, very busy day tomorrow with a variety of different committees meeting. So there'll be several today. There will be several that will be meeting. We'll go over that in the morning. But just so you know, committee meetings will meet one after another, after another, after another. And so we're not going to do too much floor work in the morning, but we will reconvene after those committees are done meeting. And so with that, I move that the House stand in adjournment until later today.
Recess.
Do you guys have more to do? You have more to do?
I think we
Okay,
should
I move that the House stand in recess until later today at 12:55 a.m., May 10th. Okay.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's been a very long day. I move that the House stand in recess until later today at 9 a.m.
The motion is to stand in recess until later today at 9 a.m. Seeing no objection, we are in recess.